All right, good morning. We're going to be talking with Tom Malmay. We're going to be all over the road, and it's going to be a good road with music in North Louisiana with a particular focus on that's going to be the NELA Music Awards. NELA Music Awards, stick and stay as we learn. That's Bill Wyman right here on the new Rue 102.3. We're also up online at kwxmfm.com. Mississippi Flyer, that Bill Wyman, yeah, former Rolling Stones. And before that, the California Honey Drops, just one more. In the studio here, Radio Land, also Streamland, you're looking at a gentleman by the name of Tom Malmay. And Tom is here courtesy of Myra Gatlin Acres. This almost sounds like, Tom, one of those where it's you volunteered, but you didn't know you volunteered. You know how volunteers also go, but he's here to talk about music in North Louisiana and in his travels. So let's meet and greet, because we're also going to focus on the NELA Music Awards. NELA Music Awards, which are coming up at Monroe Civic Center. That's going to be August 15th, but a special event that just got released yesterday. We'll touch on that. Tom, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, it's good to be here, and I appreciate the invitation. And, you know, I expect a lot of people around me to volunteer, so when I got called, there was no doubt that I was going to volunteer.
Right. Well, you know how that goes when you have and by the way, I salute the spirit of volunteerism. You know, I'm the director of the Lincoln Parish Museum. That's a nonprofit organization as well. And so the spirit of volunteerism is just as strong as it always has been. It's just as few. So that way the few do the most. And and it gets done. It gets done. I'm not being critical. You just got to understand that's how it works. So sometimes people get volunteered by the person not stepping forward, but everybody stepping back. But tell us a little bit about yourself from my brief encounter with you, the passion for music, live and local music, not only that, regional music. And man, you tie when we say roots, you're going into the soil. So what can you tell us about how music impacted your life and where you're at today?
Yeah, listen, there is a lot going on. So first, how I got here, how I got in this interview with you, and how I volunteered
Right.
to help the Music Awards. My career path, spent 30 years working in disaster management, traveling the country, Hurricanes Katrina, Rita, Gustav Ike, Hurricane Sandy, the oil spill, and so on. And I moved back to the region for the birth of my grandson. Mm-hmm. And then in 2016, we had the major flood. And, we won't go into all the detail of that. We'll tell that story.
No, wait a second. Let's go into it. Look, that was like 21 inches of rain in how many, 48 hours?
That's right. We had a whole week of rainfall that particular week. It's a record flood over the Monroe area.
Right, right.
So we were working on a project post-flood, developing a resiliency strategy. That was a flood that we had never seen before. Mm-hmm. Now, we talk about the 91 flood, 82, 83, 78, and so forth, but we had not seen that flood. But in the process, one of the things one of the requirements that we needed to look at was our natural and cultural resources. Mm-hmm. And so there were a lot of interesting things that happened, and I shared this with you earlier. We were having one particular planning meeting where, we had our FEMA representatives at the table, probably 12, 14 people at the table talking about different aspects of the planning. And after the meeting, one of the FEMA representatives commented and said, "Tom, that meeting got a little messy." And I said, "Well, we were talking about race and persistent poverty. It was going to be a messy meeting, especially if you were getting anything done." Mm-hmm. Now, that would have been on a Friday, and we were getting ready to go into natural and cultural resources. So the next morning, I went to downtown Monroe, down on Art Alley, and getting ready to go into natural and cultural resources. And I walked right up on a mural, a public mural, and on it said, "Life is messy." And it struck me like a ton of bricks.
Right.
So I snapped a picture and sent it to our team, and they all had the same reaction. Well, one step further, I couldn't stop thinking about that. So the next day, I went back downtown to continue my discovery and look around at some of the public art. And it struck me. I remembered some work I did in Mississippi years earlier, and created this heat map of all the declared disasters by county in Mississippi. And what I started thinking about was all the blues artists that came out of Mississippi, all the adversity.
Right.
Now, when I say adversity, I'm talking about natural hazards, freedom riders, the whole nine yards, our complete history. Go way earlier than Hurricane
Our messy
Camille.
history.
That exactly. The poverty in the South. Mm-hmm. And the connection between that adversity and what was happening with our music. Now, if I fast forward through today, so just recently, last, we'll say 7 or 8 years, floods. You guys had a tornado over here in Ruston, a tornado over in Monroe. All the hurricanes. We've had a couple of ice storms in that time period. And then the pandemic. So standing here today, if we look back and you told me 30 years ago that people were going to gather in the evening and read poetry, or we were going to see this explosion of music that we're seeing,
Right.
I said, Dallas, Tulsa, Baton Rouge, but not us. But it is us. This is happening. It's in a big way.
That's a pretty loaded statement. So through adversity, the proverbial, millions of years of pressure on a lump of coal creates a diamond. So is there some kind of an allusion to that? I mean, through the adversity of this region, we have the growth of beautiful music. Well, beautiful music called blues music, but rich music.
Yeah, there's a lot of literature out there, and I've spoken to a lot of different people that are trained in this area about art being a coping mechanism, healing. So I now myself personally, I believe there's a connection. I believe there's something going on with that. But there's so much going on, and in just the last few months, I've spent a lot of time out in the rural parishes. I was
Right.
in St. Joseph last weekend. I was at Lake Providence a few weeks ago. Morehouse had a festival, the Oak Grove area, and people are coming out. People are getting out. With the cost of everything going up, people are getting out.
Right. Okay, I hear you. Tom Malmay, our guest here on the new Rue 102, and you're on the board of the NELA Music Awards, correct? NELA
That's right.
Music Awards.
That's right.
Tell us more about that, because last year was the first one in a long time as well, and there's going to be a second one this August 15. Tell us more about what is NELA Music Awards.
Yeah, well, the Music Awards, a couple things. It is truly about the artist, and it's more than about one day. We celebrate the artist. We're promoting the artist. If you've paid any attention to social media as of late, what you see is NELA Music Awards supporting the artist, but our venues, the restaurants, all the businesses.
Right.
We see them promoting these events, and that's supporting the artist. And we're very appreciative of all the businesses that are, that invest in the community with their business, but are supporting live music. But in the NELA Music Awards, at the core of it, it is about the music. Now, there's an economic component to this. There's a lot going on. I know in Washita Parish, our police jury president, Shane Smiley, he speaks a lot about, making sure the businesses that we have are in a position of growth or to grow and supporting them, as well as bringing in new businesses. But but the music, what's happening there, the arts in general, do have an impact and are garnering a lot of attention right now.
All right, so NELA Music Awards, there is a Facebook page for people to go to check it out. I'm putting up now here on the graphics for the live stream. There will be an event coming up on June 29th, is that right?
June 27th.
June 27th. What
6
is
p.m. It's going to be at Flying Heart in downtown West Monroe. It's going to be quite a party. It's a celebration. Now, there's going to be some more announcements coming up as we get closer to that date on some things happening. Again, this is not about one date. The award show is August 15th, but it's not about one day. We're going to have quite a show on August 15th, but between now and then, there's going to be a lot going on.
And the best source to follow this would be on Facebook, am I right? Or is there a website? Where would you rather, or Myra have a place?
Yeah, Myra's got a good handle
Right.
on pushing out information on what's going on.
Right. All right. Tom Malmay, our guest. Life on Silver Water is his blog or vlog. Tell me more about that. What is the Silver Water?
Silver Water refers to the Washita River.
Really?
That's right. We have a lot of history, of the Native Americans living along the Washita, and that was that's actually there's two definitions. I don't recall the other one, but that was part of the definitions of Washita River. I was active duty Coast Guard, and so I have a real affection for the water and boats. And actually that was my first blog, went out and talking about that.
What, the Silver Water, the one that we're looking at right now?
Yeah, the one you've got pulled up there.
I got you.
The one you got pulled up there.
And so when you say Coast Guard, you didn't actually patrol the Washita River
No.
in. Oh, okay. I
No,
just
no, no. I was stationed on the East Coast. I spent most of my time on the Chesapeake Bay.
Really.
Yeah.
The oldest river on the planet is the Susquehanna. Did you know that?
I don't think. No, I did not know
People,
that.
and I'm finding more and more about the Susquehanna, which goes into the Chesapeake Bay. And here's a whole nother. My brain's going off.
No, keep going.
No. There's something there. There's a there, and I won't go. All right, so I digress. Let's get back to the music. What else? Well, obviously, people, you want people to get out and support. Just go out and wherever the music's located for folks to enjoy that, and then be open to hearing other kinds of music because, as you're saying, post all of these traumatic, and they have been traumatic, weather phenomena to Louisiana, the COVID, which knocked everybody sideways, the cacophony that came out of that. There are voices, there is art being created that, and that's my hashtag, let's create a remarkable future. Out of the chaos is beauty's coming out. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Hey, listen, let me share a few moments with you. So probably a couple of months ago, over on Whiskey Row, Mustang Sally, Lee Denny hosted a writer's round. And I know Clara McBroom, Clay LaBeouf, and Cooper Stevenson were playing that night. But they had an opening act. And this goes to right what we were talking about earlier. And it was a kid named John Morgan Bolding. And he was the opening act. Now Lee knew him and knew what he could do, but nobody else did.
Right.
He comes out on stage and performs one of CCR's old songs, Have You Ever Seen Rain?
Right.
And I was there to do the review, and I looked around the room, and people really looked dazed and confused. Is that voice really coming out of this kid from Oak Grove? And I'll tell you, I've had so many moments like that where you just had to be there. So I want to encourage everybody to get out and see what's going on. There's so much music happening right now. I'll tell you, I've really enjoyed seeing Matt Dean out there, the Gin Mobsters, Clara McBroom, and I'm leaving out so many people, but there's so much music happening out there. And we talked about this earlier. It's not volume of the music that we're seeing. There is a lot of quality out there.
Right.
A lot of high quality out there. Calvin Presley's another one that I enjoy seeing.
Well, we got one right here in Ruston, DK Harrell. Have you heard DK play?
Oh, yeah. We're still talking about his Christmas show he did over at the Strauss last year.
Well, I'm working with him on getting a gig at the museum called Blueseum. But there are details on that one. But the beautiful thing about DK, he's 26 years old, and he fits exactly what you're saying. A 26-year-old, wise, humble soul who was bullied at Ruston High School, sat in that chair and he said, I'm going to vow to be better, not bitter. And he's tearing up the world. He's in Europe. He's been in South America. Jazz Fest, came from West Memphis, and he's going back to Europe. And oh, by the way, his project, The Right Man, where we're going to hear a song from that coming up, was a grant from the San Diego Blues Society. And so DK was called to play there, and his backup band was, the horn section was Tower of Power on your initial project, and the drummer was B.B. King's drummer. And oh, by the way, DK hasn't had any guitar lessons, so there's a good person there, and to everything about what you're saying.
Yeah, well, listen, I have the CD. So
oh, you do?
Yeah. You're a Queen is a favorite. Favorite of mine.
Well, we're going to leave it at the door. Let's do some closing thoughts, closing words. Tom Malmay, this is episode 1. We don't know where this is going to go or grow to, but the focus is on ATL, all things local, music-wise, otherwise, and how it truly does impact and interconnects. Greater things happen when we work together. So closing thoughts.
Okay, absolutely. So there's a lot happening in Northeast Louisiana. There are a lot of things going on out there that I hear members of our chambers talk about, indicators that things are looking better. We've got Amazon coming in over there in Monroe. There's all types of indicators that things are, despite all the cost of everything going up, that things are looking better. The music, where we are right now, this explosion of music that we're seeing, it all fits together. So what we need everybody to get out, support the musicians, support the restaurants, enjoy yourself, have a good time.
Well, and let me dovetail on that one as well, as do what you can. If you can't, then advocate. And Tom, I think a lot of folks don't realize the sphere of influence they have, even on the social media side. So let's say somebody has 100 friends on Facebook, and I mean really acquaintances, or even if they are just plain strangers. Promote what all the locals promoting, and you will help, big word alert, promulgate that message and help out the local music scene, the restaurant scene, the community, and raise the standards. So yeah, man, count us in.
Yeah. One last to add what
Sure.
you just said. So if you're out, you're enjoying the live music, or you're out at a nice restaurant, you know, take a second. Roy Heatherly, the chamber director for
I know Roy. Uncle Roy.
Yeah, Uncle Roy says this all the time. He has trained legislators to do this. Snap a picture, you know, post a picture of your event.
Not the food plate. No, don't take pictures of the food.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And let me tell you what this does. It helps to raise the profile of our region.
That's right.
Remember, there are companies out there in other parts of the country that research us. They research the I-20 corridor. They're looking. And what we want them to find, we want them to find our culture. We want them to find who we are. We want them to see what we're all about. So that's very important.
All right, Tom, I appreciate you, my friend, and we're going to sign off, get back to the radio here, the new Rue 102. Mr. D.K. Harrell, yeah, he plays here. Great, great song, Leave It at the Door on the new Rue 102. Hang on. All right, so there you have it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for making it happen.